This is Weinkrantz. I'm here at the 140 Characters Conference in Boston with Ted Cohen. Ted, I've heard you speak several times at several of Jeff's conferences. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, some of your background?
Okay, well, I spent the middle 70s into the middle 80s working in artist development at Warner Records. Artist development was working with new bands at the time and some of the established acts. Worked with Van Halen, Prince, Fleetwood Mac, the Sex Pistols, Sean Cassidy, the Doobie Brothers, Al Jarreau, Pretenders, the Ramones, basically around 120 bands over 10 years. And at the same time, I started going to the electronics show in Chicago and met Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. They had just started Apple, and they had the Apple I with them, and met the folks at Atari and started getting involved with computers and technology. In '82, was asked to join a tech committee at Warner Records talking about the personal computer and the CD that was coming out in '83 and how that might affect the music industry. I don't think it's had any real effect, though, do you? Anyway, left Warner in '84 and started dabbling in technology and ended up working with Philips Electronics on a platform called CDI, CD Interactive, which was a proprietary CD-ROM format, helping them acquire artists for titles. So I produced the title for the Cranberries, worked with Santana, worked with Dave Matthews and Blues Traveler and Sheryl Crow on the Horde Festival project, and was working with Philips basically for around 10 years, and then went into consulting and consulted for companies such as Liquid Audio and Rioport and Amplified, some of the early digital distributors, worked with Motorola, worked with Amazon, worked with the original Napster, and worked with the RIAA all at the same time. It was a lot of fun. In 2000, I got kidnapped by EMI and spent the next 6 years running global digital business development. Left EMI in June 2006, and in July of 2006 started Tag Strategic, which is my consulting firm. We handle strategic partnerships, licensing, raising money, doing a bunch of different things for companies. But I've been preaching for the earliest I remember was 1994 at a conference at the Beverly Hilton, the idea that eventually access would replace ownership. iTunes was a very exciting development in terms of the fact that it popularized the idea of people paying for music online. They weren't the first to do it. Liquid Audio and Rioport and Amplified had all done it a few years earlier, but Apple really mainstreamed the concept. They threw a lot of attention at it through money, through the strength of Apple. But I think we're moving to the next phase. We're moving. You're not going to fill up an iPod or fill up your computer or fill up your home server with 100,000 songs at $1 a piece. I don't know anyone who's done that. I know people that have spent 10, 20,000, but that's the limit, I think, and they're crazy. For $10 a month, you can currently access services like Rhapsody, Mog, the revitalized Napster. In Europe, there's a service called Spotify. And basically, they now have, most of these services are touting that they have upwards of 10 million tracks. So for roughly $5 to $10 a month, I can access 10 million songs, or for $5 or $10 a month, I can buy 5 or 10 tracks on iTunes or on Amazon. You know, the value proposition is obvious. I totally believe now we've entered the era where access replaces ownership and where service is replacing product. And the most important thing to layer onto this is some form of curation, of recommendation, personalization, editorial, because you know, I'm here in Boston today at the 140 conference. When I go to the airport and I wait to sit in the lounge waiting to go to the plane, I have an hour to kill. That's roughly 15 songs at 4 minutes each. Help me find 15 new songs I've never heard before, and I'll pay for that service. Because otherwise, left to our own devices, we go back to the music that we like. So I'll probably end up, if I don't go onto a service and say, play me some new music, I'll end up listening to Todd Rundgren for the 4,000th time in the last month. So services are really important. Curation, personalization, and recommendation, discovery tools are critical. And I really believe we're seeing the end of the era of ownership. And that's not only for music, that's for movies. I'm now living on Netflix. I haven't bought a DVD in over a year. I either have a Netflix disc delivered to the house, or more often than not, I'm streaming it on my laptop or streaming it on my TV. through Xbox, through Roku, through a variety of input devices now. You can watch movies on your TV instantly. You can also get Amazon on demand. All these services are replacing the need to go to a Blockbuster store to even rent a video. I said 10 years ago that my goal was to come up with ways for people to experience music without necessarily having to drive to Tower Records. There is no Tower Records 10 years later. I would believe that 5 years from now, maybe sooner, there will be no Blockbuster. Hollywood Video went out of business about 6 months ago. The ability to get stuff in your home or get stuff, on a plane, wherever you are, really replaces the idea of driving somewhere to go get something that you might have to return or you might have to buy and never watch again. So we're entering a really interesting era. I'm very excited because it's what I've dreamed about at least for the last 15 years.
And how do people follow you on Twitter?
2 ways. I'm Spinal Tap, SPINALTAP. You can also follow me at Tag Strategic, TAGSTRATEGIC.
Thank you for your time.
You got it.